What's going on, guys? Felwinters here, bringing you another Destiny 2 video. Today's video is going to be about a new Gambit mode idea. I know, spicy. So in my opinion, Gambit is my favorite mode to play in the game, and for me, Gambit just means anything that is a blended mode between PvE and PvP. Now, there's many different ways that this can be implemented into Destiny. Obviously, we only have the one mode, which I'm going to be henceforth referring to as Gambit Prime. This is, of course, what you're used to in Gambit. You kill ads, you get motes, you bank the motes, you summon a boss, and then you kill the boss before the enemy team, and then you're the winner. But what if we add some other modes? I think Gambit is actually, out of the three core pillars, the one that is strongly needing modes rather than just maps. Alright, I know my Crucible mains out there are like, dude, we haven't had a new map in like 4 years, and when we finally get one, it's fucking Disjunction. I hear you, I really do, but Gambit needs a new mode so badly. Like, we have not gotten any variant to this system since Gambit has released, even though when they split it into Gambit Prime and regular Gambit, it was not new, it was just a shuffling of how the mode worked. I'm here today to pitch to you a completely new variant of Gambit, which I like to call Gambit Onslaught. So in effect, what I am proposing is a MOBA style FPS experience. So for any of you who have played League of Legends, or in my case, Heroes of the Storm, these typically are gigantic 3-lane maps with waves of ads on each side that push into each other and then try to take down the tower defenses in each lane, leading up to the enemy's core at the center of their base. Destroying the core is what wins you the match. And I think that a system like that would be really good implemented into Destiny. Obviously, we have different types of ads that can be on each side. So for example, we could have Hive on one side versus Fallen on the other, Cabal on one side versus Vex on the other, Scorn on one side, Taken on the other, as such. And then of course, the Guardians are pushing the lanes as we go. And separating the lanes, of course, are jungle sections with mercenary camps in between that you can go hunt down, take over, and then they will additionally push and reinforce your lane pressure, allowing you to push deep into the enemy core and onslaught into the enemy's base, so that way you can take out that core, all the while having good team fights. And I also think that with a mode like this, Bungie could actually develop systems that they could take and put in other areas of the game. And we've seen this, of course, in Witch Queen. They introduced the new payload mechanic, which then they put in public events, the raid, the stupid preservation mission where you have to like escort the payload, and they brought it back, of course, in the Lake of Shadows revamp. Same thing with this season, we have the underwater mechanic, and if you think that's the last time we're going to see an underwater mechanic in Destiny, you're freaking crazy. We're going to see it again at some point, whether it's next year or in the next saga, we're going to see it. So, what I'm proposing here is that they introduce systems that they can use in both seasonal content and in PvP content. So the first one is we need some sort of progression system in a match, so to say. In Heroes of the Storm specifically, you have a leveling system. As you get kills, you slowly progress through a leveling system all the way up to potentially 30. Games never really last that long, realistically to 20. And as you level, you gain talents. These talents, on a game-by-game basis, influence how you play your character. So, in effect, you could spec to be heavily focused on the PvP aspect. You could be heavily focused on the tower destruction or demolitionist aspect. You could be heavily focused in the jungling aspect. So, for example, perhaps in the jungle, there are special types of champion enemies that you have to take down. And the only way to deal with them super efficiently, you may obviously have champion ammo, but there may be talents specifically designated to deal with those mercenary camps, get them down really quick, maybe buff them when they go to the lane, and start pushing so that way you can get extra pressure in your lane as you push. Or we could do the League of Legends style system, which is currency based. So as you get kills, they drop motes as we are used to, and then you can use the motes back at your home base or core to buy upgrades that allow you to customize how you want to play your character. Again, if you want to be PvP focused, perhaps you get more damage against players, more damage against the minions that they are throwing at you, the ads, the pressure that they're throwing on your side, and really customize out your kit with different upgrades that you can purchase, or like I said, through a leveling system that you just unlock as the game progresses. This way you can make every single game feel a little bit different. You don't have to play the same build every time, and you can react to what your team is doing. And this is going to be a very fundamental difference from how the Reckoning used to give us set bonus based armor, and if you weren't wearing the armor, you didn't get the benefit at all, whereas here, you'll actually be able to adapt to what your team and what the enemies are doing, so that way on the fly, you can make decisions to tweak your gameplay performance to what your team needs in that moment. And I think that'd be really cool. On top of that, of course, you could take these features of in-match progression and then put them into seasonal activity to give us a roguelite experience where, again, you're progressing through something and you're gaining power within that match, mission, or seasonal activity in this case. And that way the seasonal activity has a lot of variance because, of course, you have this system in place to give you different power-ups each and every time you go through it to make it just that little bit different and give it a little bit more replay value. So I don't think designing the system and then putting in this Gambit Onslaught mode would be wasted just here. You could use it in other places and it would be really, really interesting. The second big change that would need to happen with a mode like this is, of course, PvP health scaling, because we can't just have normal PvP scaling where somebody can get one headshot and you're just with a sniper rifle and you're just dead. That wouldn't really work. You would need bigger and inflated health pools, especially in the early game as we are in our weakest state. So that way, as you level, you start to approach the normal PvP kill times. Now, I understand this is a bigger undertaking because obviously any sandbox tweaks they do will also affect this. But this actually will allow an opening for different types of Crucible health pools. Now, we kind of see this with things like Momentum, where the entire meta kind of shifts around the fact you have a lot less health. But in this case, you would have a lot more health, and this changes what fundamentally would be good for the PvP aspect. Of course, this is not going to be a locked loadout type mode. You'll be able to switch on the fly, so whatever's good for PvP, if you're losing team fights and you need to get a little bit more of that action in, you can switch mid-game to accommodate that and then deal with these different PvP variations from the normal Crucible play. I think that would be really interesting, and then again, we can take some of those health tweaks and maybe make a Crucible mode out of it to supplement the Crucible playlist as well. Beyond just that, we could have map-based objectives, a la, again, Heroes of the Storm, where at certain time-based intervals, you will have an objective spawn in the map somewhere that kind of forces a team fight by having all players on a team go to an objective spot, try and hold an area or kill a bunch of monsters in the area, whatever it may be, to then get something that is going to give you immediate lane pressure and push towards the enemy core for you. This will, of course, just speed up the matches, make them a little bit quicker, and make them a lot more exciting when you're going in for those full team-on-team team fights. I think a mode like this will lead to a lot of epic moments, good gameplay, a lot of fun in the variance, again, with the either leveling system or item system, whatever, maybe even both if you want to go absolutely crazy with it. But something like this will allow for a lot more replay value. And Gambit is so desperately in need of some additional mode types. With Crucible, we obviously have things like Trials, Iron Banner, and Comp for a more endgame-esque experience for the Crucible. And then for the Vanguard playlist, we have Grandmaster Nightfalls. We don't have anything that's even comparable to that in Gambit. It is just the one mode. So having an extra mode in there would be fantastic. I do have one more mode idea, but that's going to be a separate video. This pretty much wraps up this video. Again, this is going to be Gambit Onslaught, or at least my pitch for such a thing. I think a first-person MOBA would be a very unique experience and something that a lot of people may enjoy, especially my fellow Gambit mains out there. I know that some sort of variance would be much welcome. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed the concept, the talk. If you guys have any other ideas for either a Gambit mode itself or variants in the mode that I have pitched to you here, I would love to hear about it down in the comments below. With that being said, this is Felwinter signing out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.